you're essentially saying is that you can change your race, and you can't change your race.
I can. I'm black. I'm just kidding. Let's see what we got here.
Korean, you know, people need to accept that.
Can you identify as transracial? I mean, this is the thing. People don't know. Transracial exists. It usually manifests itself when you have somebody who was adopted by like a family with like a different race, you know? So you got like a black family that adopted like a white kid or something, or maybe you grew up in an area. It just doesn't really manifest itself anywhere near the way that like transgender people manifest. Like being transracial is just like, oh, I kind of like this. Maybe you like a particular I don't know, some mannerisms or something, or part of the culture of another community. It doesn't usually manifest itself in like, I'm gonna change my like eyelids, or I'm going to like tone my skin differently, and you know, it doesn't usually manifest itself like that. But yeah, like Nuka Zeus, yeah. But then I guess at the end of the day, I mean, like, really, what's stopping people now? If they have a legitimate issue to a point, I mean, I guess, why not? I guess. I mean, we're all so woke now. Maybe transracial should be a real thing. You know, we used to point and laugh at trans people, transgender people, and now they're accepted, which is good. So now we're pointing and laughing at transracial people. By the time I'm 60, I will really be black. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, who's to say this isn't the next thing? You know, all you young kids are going to be like, when I was young, we were making fun of people like this, and then you're going to be considered a bigot. They're going to look at your tweets of you making fun of Nuka Zeus from 2022, and they're going to be like, this guy was a bigot, and you'd be like, I just didn't know back then. I thought that it was silly. I didn't understand. That's what we're going towards, okay? Wow, that is not loud at all.
Tell me how you racially identify.
I identify as Korean. I used to live in
Wow. Wow, Korean, huh?
Korea. I was living there for 1 year. I love the culture, I love the history, the people. You know, I put myself through a lot of pain. I've had a lot of surgical procedures to have more of a Korean aesthetic. I spend
It's very clear that that person has some kind of issue. All right, let's be honest here.
a lot of time learning the language, learning how to cook Korean foods. I came out earlier this year sharing that with the world. People didn't really get it. Not everybody will understand straight away, but I hope over time people will be kind of more accepting with me.
Transracial does not exist, and I think it is very, very
Oh, that's a little transphobic, don't you think?
harmful for us to push the narrative that it is possible to switch races.
I was not happy
I mean, race is a social construct. I mean, who's to say, you know? Like, what, you know, I'm just saying.
the way I was. So I went to Korea and had the most incredible experience of my life. It changed me, gave me happiness, and people have no right.
You know what
to
it is? I'm at a point where I just don't care. Like, what does it really matter? Like, let's be honest. Oh, I'm Korean. Like, what does it actually matter? Do you think Korean people give a fuck? They don't care. It's like, oh, okay. They don't know. Do you think anybody really gives a shit? Nobody really cares. Like, it just really doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna look at this person and go, you're a fucking weirdo, and I'm gonna move on about my day. That's it. I don't care anymore. Like, what is? Nothing matters. Nothing matters to me anymore. I don't care.
Take that happiness away from me.
I can't sit up here and say, oh, I'm suddenly a white woman. And if you as a white person say, oh, I can be black,
You could. I wouldn't care.
or I can be Korean, and I can't swap and benefit from the privilege that you benefit from, then it's clearly not an equal exchange. Because whiteness in this country has been set up in a way, how I interact in the police, how I interact with the medical system can result in me dying.
Sure, I guess. It's just like, I mean, no one's gonna look at that guy and be like, I'm gonna take on his Korean privilege. You know what I mean? Like, he's not like passable, but whatever.
Cultural appropriation essentially dictates people who are ethnic minority, whatever they do isn't really of value. You don't deserve to be associated with something that you've created because a white person has either renamed it or used it for their profit. And you are not a Korean man. No matter how much surgery you do, no matter how much of the aesthetic you adopt.
Nobody can take away what a minority group has been through. But I think when we do combine cultures, and millions of people now do almost adopt a lot of the Korean cultural aspects, because through K-pop or K-drama, they love it so much they then.
I think a lot of people in like Asian cultures, they think their culture is better than everybody else's, and they try to like push it onto other people. Not in like a bad way. That's my understanding. They're like, yeah, we have a better culture, and then they come over and like there's like a lot of Asian stuff in America now, and I'm not even criticizing it because like, you know, you got your animes and your hentais and your waifu body pillows. Those are things are pretty cool. So I think the general argument, the general objective is to kind of like pass your culture on a bit, you know. But this guy just took it a little too far. Okay, just do what all the other nerds do. Go to Japan for a while and be cringe and kind of racist.
Start adopting those, whether that's a hairstyle, whether that's the fashion style, whether they want to go and live in Korea. We all have the right to choose how we identify, to be who we want to be. I'm Korean.
Is this a Korean hairstyle? I feel like that probably isn't.
You know, people need to accept that.
Okay.
I think your skin color has a lot to do with everything you're doing. I think we need to recognize that white supremacy is a global issue. What you are essentially saying is that you can change your race, and you can't change your race. And
Well, okay, so this is the one that I'm going to discredit, or I'm going to disagree with. I don't think the fact that he's white is making him feel more empowered to, or make him feel more entitled to being able to be transracial. Like, I don't think that, like, there's an active thing where I'm like, I'm white, I could do this. Your best argument is like, hey, you're a white person and like you can't adopt the struggles that the Korean person would be going through. And so like I think it's kind of privileged. But like I don't think that there's like this white supremacist angle in this guy's head. I think that he's just fucking insane. You know?
I think if you don't recognize that power imbalance in what you're doing and how it's disrespectful to me, you're just kind of proving the point that you're doing this for money and attention.
No, I agree with that. Every person that was, born Asian, they do go through these struggles. But I understand what you're saying in terms of white privilege. I've never had that experience, But
yeah,
I am not one of those people. I am completely different. So I don't like to be put in the same category as someone like that. I understand some people might get offended by what I do, but I'm not actually going out there doing bad things.
But like, not even trying to be rude. How do you like apply this to transgender people though? Like, imagine somebody was like, okay, you're a trans woman, but like you didn't grow up as a woman. You don't have the experience of being a woman. So you're able to like take your male privilege and then just, identify as a woman without actually understanding the struggles of a woman. And as a way to invalidate transgender people. And I'm just saying, like, there's an argument there. That's kind of like the TERF argument, where it's like you don't like if you as a trans woman, you didn't transition until you were like 18 or 20, so you don't understand what it's like to grow up as a woman. So how can you speak on women's issues if you don't know what it's like to grow up as a woman, where a lot of issues stem? And it's a reasonable argument. I don't think that's a reason to remove trans women from like feminism. But there's a bit of like understanding there, because of course if you're a trans woman who didn't grow up as a woman, like you're not going to understand the female experience growing up, right? So it's like these arguments would be considered generally invalidating, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Okay?
I'm not doing anything to hurt people. I'm just living my truth. I'm doing what makes me happy.
So you identify as queer, right?
Non-binary.
Non-binary, okay, I recognize that.
Thank you.
So if you as a non-binary person are adopting the culture of a minority in a minority, because we know that the queer experience in Korea is,
It's very difficult. That's why I was speaking up, and actually I helped a lot of people by doing that.
What you are doing is really giving white savior, like it really is, because you seem to think that you can adopt the oppressions of minorities.
That doesn't give any weight. I don't know. You're not. White savior isn't somebody who like adopts another culture or something. White saviors are people who think that they can, like, they're white people who think they can save other races. What are you talking about? This isn't like white savior vibes at all. It's not like a white savior thing. It would be really racially insensitive is the argument. That he's not a white savior. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, am I missing context? This guy's just crazy.
What do you think you can do as someone who is so far removed from that experience? These people are fearing for their lives in
Do
the
you
UK.
think it's better for no one to say anything and speak up for these people? I'm speaking up for these people. I'm trying to help these people.
You center those who
Oh, maybe he is. Is he trying to speak up and help these people? Like, he doesn't even say my people. So, like, is he actually transracial?
are affected. You don't center yourself, and that's my problem.
Whose side am I on? I don't care. Like, I just say I don't really give a shit, because I don't think it actually matters at all that this person's identifying as transracial. I just don't give a shit. I don't think it's real. I just don't care, because what does it really mean? No one's gonna take that person seriously. I really just don't give a shit. Like, it's just funny to me. It's just stupid, And I guarantee you though, like 30 years from now, this is gonna be real. This is gonna be a real thing that you guys are gonna have to deal with. I'm gonna be almost dead, so I'm not gonna care. Okay, I'm gonna die early. Okay, but like, I'm just saying.
Well, it's better than doing nothing. What do you do? What do you do to help people around the world?
You can't ask me that. You don't get to ask me whether I go to protest or what I do.
Well, that's a good question though. If you're trying to invalidate his activism, I guess he's like, what do you do? Oh, I don't want. It sounds like you don't do anything. You should answer it. All right, you can't take the high ground now. You just claimed that he was trying to basically unintentionally, but socially assassinate Korean people. So like, he's like, oh, well, hey, I'm trying. What are you doing? Oh, well, I can't tell you if I do anything. Well, then I mean, who fuck you, I guess,
Criticizing me for doing something which I'm actually helping a lot of people.
You think you're helping people by taking the picture? You don't get to question me, and I'm not even going to entertain.
You don't get to question me.
Yes, I do. Well, I just did. So what's up?
So why can't I question you?
Because I think you're not questioning me because you want to understand what I go through or what I'm doing. You're questioning me because you want to try and find a hole in what I'm saying.
No, he's questioning you because you questioned him, and he's feeling offended. Like, he's still a person. He's just fucking delusional. But
So I
Sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
understand exactly what you're saying. No one can take away someone's lived experience. I do feel we're at a time in history where we can embrace other cultures. You know, it's great to be multicultural, it's great to be diverse, and of course people do appropriate cultures, but for me, I'm appreciating other cultures. And
I wonder why he hasn't gotten his eyelids removed. I'm not even trying to be rude, but like this is a thing. It's so interesting because before she mentioned that like white supremacy is everywhere. There's a lot of white impact in the world. Right, so like if you go to like Nigeria, people there will try to bleach their skin and they try to be whiter, or they'll use like white names for their babies, you know, because the stereotypes around it. In Korean or in Asian cultures, a lot of times they actually get eyelid surgery to create an eyelid. I'll say like Asian people without eyelids. It's like it's common. Like this is just like common. This is like a normal thing, not having like eyelids. There's nothing wrong with it. But then this works perfectly. People will actually get surgery to like get eyelids. If you can see here, they'll get eyelid surgery. Like you can't see there, but you get my point. And so I wonder, has he ever tried to remove his eyelids? Because then that would be part of it. He started all of this after seeing a Korean artist and he wanted to look like him. Okay. But I wonder why he hasn't done that, or maybe he's tried and it didn't work. Is that what happened?
I feel that is a good thing, and I think that will help break down cultural barriers.
A lot of people say, oh, we're at a different stage in society now. We're really not. We're not far removed. We've had BLM and Asian hate all in the same year. If that can happen still at this point, we haven't really made progress as a society enough for all of us to say that we can be transracial, or we can swap races, or we can adopt aspects of one's culture without causing them harm or without their permission. There's a way you can interact with a culture without disrespecting or disregarding.
Not for nothing.
Can adopt aspects of one's culture without causing them harm or without their permission.
That line right there, so without their permission, no offense, then why the fuck are you talking to this person? I do think it's a little bit bizarre that you have a black person talking to a radical BTS fan about being transracial. Wouldn't it have made more sense to have like an Asian person talking to him, or a Korean person? Oh, she's white. Well, that makes it worse. She's white, so she's another white savior. No, but seriously, like this is like kind of a saviorism complex. Then no, I mean, why is it a black woman? Like I understand how like that there are marginalized communities, but just because you're marginalized in one way doesn't mean you represent all marginalization. That would be like saying just because somebody is a woman, that means that they get to speak on every issue, because women are marginalized. But it's different than like a woman is different from like a black person. They're marginalized in different ways. So Korean people and black people are marginalized in different ways. So why, like this seems like you shouldn't be speaking on this. It's kind of silly. I think it's kind of silly. So it would have made more sense to have a Korean person here, but we didn't do that. You should have had Kim Jong-un do it himself. That would have made the most sense. It would have made the most sense.
There's a way you can interact with a culture without disrespecting or disregarding their lived experiences. I engage with Korean culture, but I will always be a black woman, period. I don't think I
engage with a lot of cultures, and I'll always be a white man, so I own all those cultures I engage with. It's called colonization. Hey, so I own it. You know, My Hero Academia, own it. Power Rangers, I own that. And what was it before that? Like Super Power Speed Force or something? That's where they took all the clips from in America. Own it. Boom. Colonization. It's easier. Okay? It's an easier way to live. I own everything. Boom. Computers, I own it. I don't know.
Understands my lived experience. To me, transracial is not a real thing.
I respect people that have a different opinion. They might not agree with me. Nothing has changed. I still identify as transracial and Korean. I will always identify this way.
I am proud of how I stood my ground. Whatever excuse Ollie came up with, I was able to dismantle it. And I think that's very important.
Hold on a second. All right. Interesting segment. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.